This is everything you need to know to dominate your fantasy football draft. Let's get into it. Welcome to Motown Fantasy Football. Shout out Germany, Mexico, Brazil, and the greatest country on the planet, the United States of America. God bless football, and go Chiefs. I'm going to break it down into 4 topics. I'm going to give you my top 5 rankings at each position, positional value, the draft strategy I'm implementing and why, and players to target in each round, and some sleepers to take a chance on later in the draft. And if you stick around, I'll give you a bonus tip at the end. At quarterback, number 1, I have Anthony Richardson. He really showed us what he's capable of last year before he got hurt. Small sample size, but he has one of the best offensive lines in football and a lot of weapons around him. I'm thinking a peak Cam Newton-like season. Number 2, Jordan Love really came on second half of last season. Young, great team. 3, Patrick Mahomes. He consistently great and has more weapons than he's had in years. Josh Allen, number 4, consistently a top 3 quarterback. I think he'll still have the same rushing upside since he lost some weapons on offense. And then number 5, Kyler Murray gets a generational talent in Marvin Harrison Jr. that he can throw to. Really built his rapport with Trey McBride, and I'm expecting a lot from Kyler Murray, especially because he has that rushing upside as well. Running backs, number 1, Breece Hall. So impressed with what he did with absolutely nothing last season. The Jets were playing from behind in every game. Defenses knew that he was getting the ball, and he still finished as an RB1. Number 2, Christian McCaffrey. He's a focal point of the 49ers offense. He's a Hall of Fame running back. Very consistent, very high floor, very high ceiling on a weekly basis. Number 3, the ageless wonder, Derrick Henry. Continues to do it. Had a little bit of a down year last year, but now he's on a Baltimore Ravens offense with Lamar Jackson, so they're going to have a dual threat back there, and they love to run the football. I expect a lot of touchdowns from him. Number 4, Bijan Robinson. The fantasy football dream crusher of a head coach, Arthur Smith, is no longer in Atlanta, and so Bijan's gonna run free. He now has Kirk Cousins as his quarterback, and they have Kyle Pitts and Drake London to throw to, so a lot of weapons there, great offensive line, and he's the workhorse back there. Number 5, Saquon Barkley, who finds himself in a situation now where he's on this Philadelphia Eagles team. It's the best offensive line he's ever played with the most weapons he's ever had around him. He's gonna have a lot of open lanes. Wide receivers. Number 1, Jamar Chase. The Bengals lost their running back, Joe Mixon, this offseason, and the Bengals want to throw the ball a ton. Jamar Chase is an elite talent. He's the best wide receiver in the NFL. The hold-in situation has me slightly worried, but players rarely miss game time due to contract holdouts, and he's kind of in a similar situation as Justin Jefferson was when he had 2 years left on his contract and he was holding out. He ended up playing, and then he got paid the following off season. Number 2, CeeDee Lamb just got paid, had an impressive season last year. I expect some of the same this year. Number 3, Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is one of the, if not the fastest wide receiver in the NFL. Major threat to defenses. I expect a similar season from him this year. Number 4, Garrett Wilson, who I think has a chance to be the overall wide receiver 1 this season. A lot of experts projected him to have that kind of season last year, but then Aaron Rodgers got hurt, had a lot of offensive line injuries. Now they have an improved offensive line. Aaron Rodgers is back, so I expect him to have a great year. And number 5, Puka Nacua, who had a record-breaking rookie season, and historically, second-year receivers typically break out. And in his second year with an aging Cooper Kupp, I expect a big year ahead for Puka Nacua. Tight ends. Number 1, Trey McBride. Trey McBride really broke out the second half of last season, and I'm not worried about Marvin Harrison Jr. taking away too many targets from McBride. I think there's plenty to go around in that offense, and I think he's a go-to guy for Murray. Number 2, Sam Laporta. Rookie tight ends hardly ever do well in fantasy, but Sam Laporta did that. The Lions have a similar offense to last season, so I expect them to build upon that. Number 3, Dalton Kincaid. The Bills lost Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis, 2 of Josh Allen's top targets, and we really saw Kincaid and Allen connect a lot over the end of last season. I expect him to be a go-to target for Allen this year. Number 4, Travis Kelce. The future Hall of Fame tight end is going to have a lot more opportunities this season. I think the middle of the field is really going to open up, especially since they have the speedy wide receivers Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy now. They're going to stretch the field. Kelce and Rashee Rice are really going to eat inside. Number 5, Jake Ferguson. The Dallas Cowboys tight end, I think, is going to have a larger target share this year. Besides CeeDee Lamb, he's the next best pass catcher in that offense. So I think a bigger workload is ahead stud for Jake Ferguson. Moving on to positional value. So this year, quarterback and wide receiver are very deep. And it's okay to wait and take those positions in your draft. Running back could make the difference in your fantasy league. If you get one of those workhorse elite running backs, you're comfortable for the rest of the draft to be able to take guys you like at different positions because you can wait on those. Now let's talk about draft strategy. Because quarterback and wide receiver are so deep, I enjoy being in the number 1 overall slot. I like being at the beginning of the draft. That's because I'm guaranteed one of the workhorse running backs, one of the top 3, which is Breece Hall, Christian McCaffrey, and Bijan Robinson. After that, I can take running back and wide receiver in the first 4 rounds. I don't even consider another position. Besides, in round 4, I'm willing to take Trey McBride there and solidify my tight end position. And then I don't consider quarterback until round 5, which is Anthony Richardson. And if I don't get him there, I'm probably waiting until round 7 or so to get Jordan Love or Kyler Murray. You have to take best available, not what you need. So with this strategy, you can let the draft fall to you. Even if you wait on quarterback and you wait to get Love or Murray in round 7, say they get taken right before you pick. That's okay because you could still take Jaden Daniels in round 10 or so. And these are all based on 12-team PPR leagues. Now I'm going to give you players to target in each round of your fantasy draft and some sleepers to take a chance on at the end. So in round 1, remember we're in that number 1 overall position. Number 1, I like targeting Breece Hall or Christian McCaffrey. Round 2, Marvin Harrison Jr. or Michael Pittman Jr. And depending on how the draft falls to you, remember you're on the end, or you might be towards the beginning, like in the 2 slot. So one of these players might be taken in each round, but keep in mind if they're both there, you might be able to take both of them. So you might get some value. So we're going running back, wide receiver. Round 3, back to running back if I can, or if I don't like the value there, I'm pivoting to wide receiver. So I'm going Rachaad White, Devon Achane, or Drake London. Now in round 4, remember is the first round I'm considering a tight end. So Trey McBride if he's available, or I'm going wide receiver in Malik Neighbors. Round 5, again, first time I'm considering a quarterback in Anthony Richardson, or I'm going T. Higgins if he's available. And usually if a flex player is available and the quarterback, I'll usually go flex and then wait on quarterback because it's so deep. Round 6, I'm going Rashee Rice or Terry McLaurin. Rashee Rice is going so late in drafts, and he's a wide receiver too. Round 7, this is if you're waiting on quarterback, right? You're considering Jordan Love and Kyler Murray. If you already have your quarterback, or you still want to wait for Jaden Daniels, I'd go Amari Cooper. Round 8, Ladd McConkey. I really think he is being slept on. I think he could be this year's Puka Nacua. He is a very talented rookie receiver paired with a quarterback who loves to throw the ball a ton, and he's going to be the wide receiver 1 on that team. So Ladd McConkey or Marquise Brown. Round 9, I've seen Jaden Daniels creep up in drafts here. So if you don't have a quarterback, Jaden Daniels or Xavier Worthy. Round 10, I'm going Khalil Shakir, or if I find myself going hero running back, meaning I only have 1 running back so far, I might go Jerome Ford because he's going to be starting at least the first 4 games with Nick Chubb out. Round 11, going with a handcuff with massive upside here, Blake Corum, rookie running back. He's an injury away from being a top 10 running back if Kyren Williams goes down. I do also like Jameson Williams. A lot of good things out of camp, a lot of improvement from him. Round 12, going Tyler Algier. He's also a high value handcuff. If anything happened to Bijan, he'd step right in there, and he's more than capable of putting up top 10 numbers. He also has standalone value. Round 13, rookie wide receiver Adonai Mitchell. I think he's going to have a big role and be potentially the wide receiver 2 on a high-powered Colts offense. Round 14, Dontavian Wicks. That's a crowded wide receiver room in Green Bay, but even his quarterback, Jordan Love, is predicting a big season from him. Round 15, I'm going Carson Steele. Looked great in preseason. Coaches rave about him. Or I'm going Juju Smith-Schuster, who is similar to Rashee Rice. He's not as good as Rice, but if anything happened, he'd be that slot guy, that underneath guy. The last round, I'm going Jordan Mason, the backup for Christian McCaffrey. Remember, Elijah Mitchell is out for the season, so Jordan Mason steps up in that RB2 slot, and It's tough for a running back who touches the ball 400 times in a season to then again have another great season. If anyone can do it, Christian McCaffrey can do it. But if he does get hurt, Jordan Mason would step right in there and be a top 10 running back as well. Some sleepers that if you want to take a chance on, or if there's someone you like, these are some options as well that I like. Braylon Allen, Bucky Irving, Will Shipley, Isaac Guerrero, Jordan Whittington, Tank Bigsby, Andre Iosivas, Justice Hill, Luke McCaffrey, Taysom Hill, and Tyron Tracy Jr. Bonus tip for you, make sure you draft someone that you enjoy watching. You want to have someone on your team that you really like because it's going to make your fantasy football season so much more fun. Leave a comment below on what you agree with and disagree with, and let me know what your best fantasy tip is for this year's draft.